And if you're a glutton for punishment and you want to watch Georgia and South Carolina, again, you can do so Wednesday at 3:30 right here on CSS. He is the pride of Decula. He is also a one-time Georgia fullback, now a very successful contractor. Des Williams joining us right now. Des, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thanks you guys for having me on the show.
And let's talk about the fact that you were there in Columbia the other night, making some business connections, entertaining some folks. Is it tough to keep your cool when all that stuff is happening around you?
Yeah, I think it is. You know, the cool thing about Saturday is it was an electric atmosphere. If you're coming to Georgia to play big-time football, that's what you got. 7 o'clock game, night game. Their stadium was rocking. You know, we just couldn't come out there and take care of business. But, you know, from a player's perspective, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better atmosphere.
At about the halfway point now of the 2012 season, your thoughts on what you've seen so far from your alma mater?
Well, you know what? I think Georgia's played. I mean, we've been perfect up to last Saturday, so you can't really, you know, look at that aspect and see anything wrong. I think that, you know, we weren't maybe not been as prepared as we would have liked to for last game, but I think, you know, Georgia, they're going to take this bye week. They're going to practice hard. They're going to come back, play well against Kentucky. And come in against Florida, and I think we're going to get back on track. Let
me ask you both a question. DJ, we'll start with you. The fact that it's a bye week when you come off a loss like this, is it good, or do you prefer to get back out there and play ASAP?
Oh, no. I like to get back right out there and play as soon as possible, because this is a time where this loss kind of lurks on you. You kind of feel it. You got a whole week to watch the film. You can look at things that probably weren't there that you probably will overlook in a normal game week, but it's definitely tougher coming back, having to wait a whole week and then a whole another week after that to play a game. So the biggest thing is you want to get back on the field immediately and play. I'm sure you're the same way, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you got to kind of put that behind you, come in, you know, like I said, practice hard, play hard, get another W under your belt, and then from there, I think you can, you know, put the bat behind you and then continue with the good.
And talking with, I talked with a couple guys after the game, and the biggest thing they said was we have to wait a whole week to play again. And all of them are eager to get back out and play again. They want to get back and get that taste out of their mouth of a big-time loss on a big-time game and all that comes with it. But all of them said, we want to get out and play.
And Gershel, we talk about Keith Marshall and Todd Gurley. You're a guy that blocked for a lot of successful running backs at Georgia. Learning experience, training on the job, I guess is what you're going to call it.
Yeah, I think so. You know, for these guys, they needed a big game. They had Missouri, they had Tennessee, but going up against you know, a great four that South Carolina had, it's a great test for these freshmen to go out, have that experience, and then run even harder the next game.
And Des, I agree with you. I mean, having these two guys has made us completely forget about the debacle of Isaiah Crowell and everything that happened with him, and having these two freshmen, just like he was last year, come in and be productive. Even though they weren't as productive in the last game versus South Carolina, they're still productive. They're still a light to really look at this offense and look at this season and say, hey, we got something to hang our hat on and say we got two guys, even three guys in Malcolm who can carry the ball and be productive.
Do you think about it as a quarterback? You talk about Aaron Murray, and I'm going back to what we hear on 790 The Zone on Sports Talk Radio in Atlanta, still needing that signature win. Is that in the back of your mind at all?
It is at times, but once you get into the game, you realize that the game is a little bit bigger than what everybody's saying on the outside. It's one of those things where, as a quarterback, you have so much else to focus on. You're not just worried about the 11 guys on your team or your offense. You have to worry about the 11 guys on defense as well, because you got to know where they are at all times. And that's why the quarterback gets so much praise. That's why the quarterback gets so much guilt as well, because you control everything on the field. And having a signature win always helps, but you don't really realize it maybe until after the game or right before the game when you're preparing for it as, hey, I need this win to kind of what I got going through.
Is the quarterback the leader? Was this guy a leader?
You know what? There's no doubt in my mind that, you know, DJ Shockley was our leader and quarterback. I think, you know, there's leaders on offense and leaders on defense. There's no doubt, you know, for this team, Jarvis Jones is our leader on defense, and I think we need big plays both out of Aaron Murray on the offensive side of the ball. We need plays out of our young running backs, and we also need plays on the defensive side of the ball and our experienced secondary. We need plays out of Jarvis Jones to kind of get that electric going, and I think it's kind of a mixture between both offense offense and defense.
It's been kind of strange. The defense the last couple of weeks has struggled, not playing as well as they did when they weren't dealing with the early season suspension. Sometimes maybe guys raise up their game, and whether it's fair or unfair and whether they want to do it or not, maybe their level drops off a little bit when they expect others to pick up the slack.
And that's the weird thing about it is we talk about all the talent on the defensive side of the ball. We talk about how many players they have that can make it to the National Football League coming up in the opening draft, but they're giving up a lot of points. They're giving up a lot of yards. They're not doing the things that those top guys should be doing. And the one game is against Missouri, but they still gave up a lot of points. They gave a lot of yards, and they came out on top. But at the same time, they got to be able to do this consistently and be able to shut out these SEC schools, because guess what? You are what you're looked at as part of being a great team or being a great player is how you control playing against those big games like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, I think that's a great testament. I know, going back to 2003 when I first got in there, I know, Shockley, you were playing quarterback. One of the things Coach Rick told us was, hey, we're not guaranteed to go to a SEC championship every year. And so, I think it's, even though nobody wants to lose, I think this loss did a lot for us because it kind of brings everybody back down to an even kilt, and kind of lets us know that, hey, we're back down to reality, but we're going to push forward and we're going to go win these last games.
And one thing I know Coach Rick is telling everybody right now is we're still in it. South Carolina still has a gauntlet of a schedule to go through at LSU, Florida, Tennessee. They still have some games to go through, and we know that Georgia's schedule isn't as hard as, South Carolina's coming up. So the season is not over. Only one loss, even though it's to an SEC East opponent. You don't ever want that, especially this late in the year. But your schedule is formidable to be able to go on and be able to make it to your ultimate goal of being in the Dome, being in that championship game.
And Des, there's that game on the 27th against the name escapes me at the moment. Oh yeah, the Florida Gators. That game means everything every year, let alone this year with the SEC East very much still up for grabs.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Florida's going to be huge for us, there's no doubt. I think whoever wins that game is going to kind of be put in the driver's seat, no matter what South Carolina does. So I think it's going to be very important for us to kind of pull together, practice hard, take care of Kentucky, go down there to Jacksonville, take care of business.
That's good to see you. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you guys for having me on board.
There he is, Des Williams. When we come back, we'll take a look at UGA soccer and what they have in store as the Dawg Report continues.